Okay, welcome back. You can get straight into this mesh cleaning phase where and this is pretty much what I got from watching the Chaos Masons channel. Um, gold standard in character modeling for sure. So I wanted to try out this Z remesh technique because I think working in Dynamesh would be I probably I'd be able to do it okay, but I think it's a little bit taxing on the machine. So I wanted to give this a go because when you see those guys do it, I mean it just it looks so. I'm not gonna say easy because obviously nothing that they do looks easy. It looks incredible, but the workflow looks so clean. But I'm not very experienced working with meshes and things like that, so I was a little bit concerned, and I wanted to sculpt as much as possible because that's the whole point of me going to ZBrush, so I could just sculpt whatever I want. Um, and I didn't want it to feel like modeling. But it makes sense to do this, right? Just to have it a bit easier on the machine and give these hard surface elements a cleaner look. So that's what I'm going for here. Now, yeah, you can see here that I'm just masking off the area around it so I can manipulate that housing to this wheel, which is going to be control for cameras that are all around the helmet. So there's going to be one at the top, just above that vent, in the middle of the helmet. There'll be one on each side of the helmet, um, just below the wheel, and there'll be a camera at the rear of the helmet, giving 360-degree awareness. Um, because the actual visibility in the helmet through the front would be limited, but that's just that's my choice because I've decided to put this huge peak at the front, and obviously that's there for protection too, but it's more a design choice. It's just what I think looks good, and that's changed quite a bit from the blockout phase when I was going to originally do it with a just a normal hard plastic peak, but I figured now would be a good time to play around with that kind of thing and make it look less like your standard like motocross helmet, because this is the racing helmet. It's just been modified. So I thought I would give it this kind of like rubberized texture to this material, and then I could tie that into other elements that I've got on the figure, like the boots. Just kind of harmonizes it a bit more. Yeah, I spent quite a bit of time in the Dynamesh sort of stage polishing this piece up, but then this was the test piece. Because I was the most worried about this piece, being around a perfect circle, I knew that it had to be polished to pretty high level. Um, so I'll polish the piece, mask it, extract it with no thickness, so that it's just a flat mesh, and then I'll polish it again after I've Z remeshed it at low poly. Polish it until I got it the shape that I want. Make sure the edges are nice and crisp, and following that kind of curvature that I've got. And once the shape is, if it's all the creases are gone out of it, the bumps and whatnot, then I'll add thickness with panel loops. But I want to make sure that all the polishing is done with the flat mesh part, so that I don't have to worry about any other. I don't have to worry about the volume of the shape changing, as I'm polishing. So again, it's just trying to make it as easy as possible for myself. even though I didn't want to work with meshes as much, I do like this workflow. Um, it's definitely handy with hard surface stuff like this. It makes it a lot easier. I do struggle with subdivisions a bit though. Like sometimes it seems to go either too much or it won't subdivide enough. Sometimes I think that 4 times subdivision level is just too much. But I understand why. I just found that in Blender too. When you multi-res it, it's either too much or not enough. So I try to go as low as possible with these base meshes so that I've got a bit more options with the subdivision when I divide it up. It's getting pretty close to the final mesh now. And you can see like the lower that I've got the mesh, the easier it is to get those points to kind of fit around the circle. That was my thinking, rather than wait till it's a high subdivision and then kind of mold it around. I just figured this would be an easier approach. I was just trying the other Z remesh tactic, holding Alt and seeing what that came up with. But in the end, this seemed like the tidiest mesh. I mean, you got a big old star there, but I'm not too worried about that. There's not going to be any detail on this thing. It's just, a nice clean shape. I want to keep the shapes as readable and as clean as possible, without kind of cluttering them with visual noise. Um, so I've kind of put it on myself to design these shapes as well as I can. So I kind of don't have to put loads of alphas all over them. I want to do as much with the brush as possible, without kind of using alphas. I have used some, and I think the ones I've used are from the actual Chaos Masons brush set. Um, but to be honest, even when I was looking through that, there wasn't many that I wanted to use. Um, on some of the other parts, I'll tell you, which ones are from that brush set. But I find it really important to clean and just prepare the mesh before you go adding the panel loops. It's just a really important phase. So I spent a lot of time on these flat meshes, moving them around, H polishing them, putting the intensity down, and also with the move brush. I use that a lot with AccuCurve on with the intensity really low, and then you can kind of really use the move brush as like a molding tool. It just works so well. Just making sure that surface is nice and clean, because I know, pretty much when I've done that, I've got it all clean. Oh, that's the trick with holding smooth and then releasing shift, and just kind of keeping your pen on the tablet, and it relaxes the verts a bit. But if the intensity is too high, it kind of flattens your shape out. So you need to have a low intensity for that on your smooth brush. I think we're getting pretty close now to it being polished. You can see like there the shape's pretty much there. Just a couple of passes, and then I'll panel loop it. Yeah, pretty good. using that metallic matte cap just to check if there's any blemishes on the mesh. A little bit of shape fine tuning. Yeah, so here's where I'm going with the loops. I tend to use quite a few, not very many loops until I know the thickness I'm going to go for. Just getting some thickness in there, and from there I'll just subdivide it, and that piece is pretty much done. Nice and easy. You can see there's some little bits that I need to correct with the move brush. Just bring it out, just to get that matching up with the circle I've put inside the sphere, cylinder. And that's it. So thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll put something up soon, another piece. This is just subdividing it now because the piece is pretty much done. Thank you. I'll see you next time.